How you doing, Steve? Is it time? T-Rex, is it time to start our day? Jump 1, 2, 3. If it is time to start our day, what is time? Oh, time is one of those invisible forces. You can't really see it, but you can feel it, and you know it's there. Like gravity, right? Well, 24 hours ago at this time, here in the Boston area, it was 8 a.m. But here we are 23 hours later, 24 hours later, and it's 9 a.m. Time really makes you think, doesn't it, Tim? How do you spell time? T-I-M-E. So my favorite joke is time is Tim with an E. To cut to the chase, time is change. Daylight saving, right? I guess. The sun's coming up an hour later. There's an infinite amount of time, but there's only a finite time for our mortal coil, as they say. So, for that reason, we feel pressured by the passing of time quite often. And that's one of the reasons I like to call my Sunday out the door weather and more not in a hurry Sunday, because who wants to be in a hurry? Who wants the time to go by fast? I want it to go by slow. So on Sunday, I try to plan to stick nearby. A lot of times I'll drive north because everyone else is driving south, and that puts a little demand on the time. And today is a good day for the north. It is snowing, but I'm not going there. It's day 69 in a row with snow somewhere in New England. And the lift carrying the ski patrol up Bolton first thing this morning, whatever first thing this morning was. So as weather forecasters globally, you want a universal time code, and that's called Greenwich Mean Time. We call it Zulu, just for short. And so that did not change. We changed. So now 12Z, which used to be 7 a.m., is now 8 a.m. So there's a 4-hour instead of a 5-hour difference between the East Coast, Eastern Time, and Greenwich England Standard Time, Universal Coordinated Time. It's called UTC. There's so many names for time, isn't there? Let's just stick with Tim with an E. That's funny. So when we do our weather forecasts now, the guidance products seemingly come out an hour later because we've changed the difference from 5 hours to 4 hours. Get it? Yeah, I know. It's difficult. So the 12Z map this morning, which is now 8 a.m., showed a low pressure system very close to the coast of Maine, and we have a strung out front with waves of energy across through the Great Lakes and right across southern Canada. Canada is wall-to-wall cold, and the United States is cool to mild, depending on where you are. National advisories, watches, and warnings. Not a lot here. You have fire danger, that's the red, and wind warnings in effect, North Dakota, South Dakota. And what else? I can't remember. Not much else going on. I think there's another system coming into California. So relatively quiet coast to coast. And if we look at the radar this morning from about 12Z, which is now 8 a.m., it showed a little system coming into California or to the west coast. It showed another little blob over Lake Superior. That's racing at New England tonight. Some specks over New England. That's the snow that we're getting right now in northern New England. And across from Louisiana to Florida. Remember where there was a forecast for a storm on the south coast of New England today from 5 days ago? Oh, it only missed by about 1,000 miles. Instead, that's going off of Georgia tonight. Wow, wow, wow. So that was 5 days ago. So just think of that when you're looking at the next 5-day forecast. We have confidence in 2 to 3 days, then it gets really low confidence, although what's going to happen here late this week is getting to be higher confidence than I'd like because it's going to be a warm, wet one. So let's go to the short, cold one with the snow in northern New England. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you this morning, we didn't do the Ice Bucket Challenge, did we? And where's Steve? Steve's down there. How about a close-up of Pussy Willows before we go over to the ice bucket? So did you get to sleep in, Cody family, at Nebraska Knoll? Because it was cold last night, they get to sleep in a little bit because the sugar's not running that fast. But it's going to be a torrent of maple sap late this week. I'm doing my little ice bucket contraption. The thing was blowing around yesterday. That wind yesterday was so relentless. Wind on Mount Washington gusted to 138 miles an hour. Wow. And here we were gusting all day. And it was cold air advection by afternoon. And the ice bucket is pretty solid there. But there is water under there. So we'll do the ice bucket challenge this week. Oh, yeah, and I said I was going to try and compare the last week in February average temperature in Boston to the first week in March. I said, wow, the first week in March could be actually colder than last week of February. And sure enough, I did the math this morning. And the last week of February, with all that rain and our snowpack disappearing and our ice finally melting, the average temperature that last week was 41 degrees. And then the average temperature from this first week of March was 36 degrees. So this week was actually 5 degrees colder than the last week of February. Everything works in waves, and who's to say this isn't going to happen again in March? March, often our snowiest month in our mountains, but it's going to be tough to beat what already happened, isn't it? January, well, December too, and January and February were just extraordinary in our tallest mountains. So let's go to the NAM now and start it off at 15Z, which is now 15 minus 4, 11 a.m., 15 minus 4. And there are those snow showers moving across northern New England. And they kind of devolve into snow squalls headed for Bar Harbor around 0Z, which is now 8 p.m. So watch out for a snow squall, central Maine. And then this nice wall of snow with an organized cyclone, low pressure system coming into northern New England. And that's a heavy burst of snow for a lot of Vermont and New Hampshire. Now we're getting out to 6Z. Now we're getting to 2 a.m. And it tries to reach right down into almost northeastern Massachusetts before lifting out and then dwindling tomorrow morning. So that's a quick several inches of snow tonight in northern mountains. And then tomorrow, kind of quiet and cool, nice day, not too windy. Finally, the wind letting up. And then late, well, it's now midday Tuesday. It stops now at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, March 11th. And there's another cold front coming at us. But at that point, with those red lines, the blue lines turning into red lines, that's warm air advection on Tuesday, which is going to reverse to cold air advection a little bit Tuesday night and Wednesday. Will there be a dry faux pas? We'll see. So I was talking about wind, and why don't we look at the summit of Mount Washington? This morning was only about 56 miles per hour, and the temperature, what was it? Pretty close to 0, I think. So definitely a warmer, more forgiving day on your ski lift rides today than yesterday. Sterling, thank you for letting me know that it was a blizzard at Jay Peak yesterday for a time. But so far, the snowfall amounts have been underachieving from my 10 to 20 forecast. We're not even to half that. We're at about 5 or 6, and we're only going to make it up to 10. So, yep, I was overly optimistic for snowfall in the mountains. T-Rex, do you mind? The snowfall amounts for this system, all right, I'll show it real quickly. It's called the Kuchera. It says that the ratios are going to be pretty high, so you're not going to get 10 to 1 snow. At the tops of the mountains, more like a 15 to 1 blower pow, and that blower pow really adds up quick, so you may end up with more than 6 inches of snow. That's the purple at the spine of the Green Mountains over to Mount Washington Presidential Range into parts of Maine. So the very tops of the mountains. What was that, Rex? Those birds just photobombed us. The very tops of our mountains are coming in with a half a foot of snow, I think, between now and tomorrow morning. And then is the party over? A lot of people say the party's over. I don't know, but it definitely turns less favorable if you like powder skiing. Remember, there's a lot of snow on the ground. We're going to get corn skiing here eventually. So let's go to the GFS. I didn't look at all the guidance. I'm not in a hurry. So I just look at the what we've been watching for the last couple of weeks and stick with it for now. So here's our strung out front from coast to coast, southern Canada and northern United States, delivering a little 999 low. That's pretty potent going by, but fortunately there's no strong high, so it's not going to be a lot of wind today or tomorrow. It's going to be cold air advection only at the Canadian border, otherwise warm air advection. That system that we thought maybe would get to New England is going off of Georgia. Look at that now, Monday night and Tuesday. There's a storm to our north and a storm to our south. We're kind of in neutral advection, but that storm to the north is going to draw in the southwest winds and gusty Tuesday afternoon before that front comes south, and we have a mostly dry frontal passage, fropa, on Tuesday into Wednesday. It turns colder. There's a high pressure system coming into southeastern Canada. And yesterday I said, there's no way Thursday's going to be dry. It just doesn't happen. And there it is. A warm front on Thursday with a little bit of rain and northern New England snow. It doesn't look like a big deal. That's a warm front coming in on Thursday with a little precipitation. And then Friday, we're kind of still not that cold or warm. But then the storm ramping up over the middle of the nation does look like it's going to still deepen through the 970s. Potential superstorm in the middle of the country. And a Bermuda high pressure system, high pressure to our south means our wind comes from the south. Wind is air flowing from high to low, and the low pressure system's waves are going to go along a front to our north, and that means warm and windy. Next Saturday looks mostly dry, so it's just kind of mild. Spring skiing for sure. The gardens are going to be popping. Things like daffodils may start to really sprout up, and the forsythia may try and come out next week, the outdoor forsythia. And then Sunday, here comes the front, and now it is raining a little bit on Sunday, or maybe a lot of it Sunday night into Monday. Look at that. That's a torrential downpour coming through New England, maybe with some thunderstorms, severe weather off to the south. And then St. Patrick's Day Monday does start to turn cooler, and rain may try to change to snow during the final batch of that precipitation late Monday and to Tuesday. And then Tuesday, March 18th, out 240 hours, 0Z. It's called 0Z Wednesday the 19th, but that's really now 8 p.m. Tuesday the 18th, okay? And it looks like we're trying to get warm air advection again with a front strung out from southeastern Canada right down to Texas. Look at that snow way down to the border with New Mexico and Arizona and Mexico. Northern Mexico may be cold enough for snow on Tuesday, March 18th. There is a tremendous amount of cold left in the western United States and Canada, coast to coast in Canada. But on the East Coast, we are still looking like we're going to be in a warm wave that will be now the third week in March, headed for the vernal equinox. And so if we get a warm wave around the vernal equinox, you know what that means? The cold wave would come back in time for April Fool's Day. So I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm not going to show the coast-to-coast snow. I'm going to wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow begins our 21st week in a row of coast-to-coast snow, and I'm wanting it to show more in New England. So what we get tonight and tomorrow is probably it for our snow, and a little bit on Thursday, until after that next big warm wave goes by, St. Patrick's Day. Looking up at the blue sky and the pussy willow, not in a hurry, sunscreen weather. I'm really feeling badly for my plants. I haven't been able to get dirt on the root balls because the dirt is all solidified down in here. The ground is still frozen. So I'm not sure they're going to live, and I can't lift them. It's always something, right? Oh, I just almost tripped. And let's just check this out one more time. The Big Dig in Weymouth. And we didn't venture far off the ranch yesterday, so I'm going to have some of my content providers give me the content. Donna, looking so stylish at Powder Mountain in Utah, where you chose the right week, Weller family, to go to Utah. And, Ross Budd is also in Utah. But when he sends 12 videos on the thread, I can't decide, so you don't get any videos, Ross. And we're in Florida. He's all about the foiling and, what is it, technologically assisted foils that you turn into manual foils, and then you do 360s in the air. Where are you? We're anyway in Florida. And yeah, Sterling says the surf has been tremendous in Florida, even though he's in Vermont. He's watching it. And I'm only kidding, Ross. We're going to include you in the and more. Here's the and more from me yesterday and our friends in Utah and Florida. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll show the map for the 21st week in a row of coast-to-coast snow, and it will be day 70 in a row of New England snow. See you then. And more from yesterday. Check out the waves going over to Weymouth Big Dig out there. So I can see your snow clouds from over here. And looks like a nice one going up off of Winthrop right now. And our forsythia is in bloom. Pulled it right out of that garden, right down there. All right. 11 a.m. I get a lot of flaky clouds around. Bob Fogarty in Sudbury says it's sunny and it's snowing right now. And we're here at the Weymouth Big Dig watching the waves crash.
Good boy.
Spray. Look at that, right over the... It's creating the little rainbow down there. Do it again. Where's that little rainbow? Come on. Well, get the birds playing, having breakfast. Very low tide. Flag, I gotta get a new flag too. Alright. Monitoring the progress of these snow showers and squalls. It's called instability. And then look at that sun over there. Okay, it's getting to be 4 o'clock. T-Rex wants to go for a walk. He wants to go for a walk, you think? We're done with that Bruins leash for now. We're gonna use the Celtics leash. We're boycotting the Bruins for trading Marchand. Oh, and especially Coyle, Weymouth native. Yeah, could do some gardening, take out those mums. Well, it's not a bad day if you get the sun out of the wind, but it's hard to get out of the wind around here. Where are we going, Rex? Where are we going? Yeah, up the hill, up the hill. Yeah. He's got a little energy. He probably misses the snow. He wants to run the snow. Where are you going, Rex? Other way. Yep, there you go. This was the last of the winter snow. It was right in here. So any more snow for this season down here is going to be spring snow, poor man's fertilizer, and it will not last long. Where's the moon? The worm moon. Oh, this could be interesting. Let's zoom in. See what I see? We get fowl. We get the geese preparing for their spring mating rituals. I'm gonna stock up on energy. Let's see what happens when Rex encounters the geese. Rex, geese. What do you smell? All kinds of critters in here. It's springtime, Eric. I saw a skunk on the road. Didn't look too good. Oh, they hear me. They're telling each other, here comes the weatherman. He's got that camera. We're gonna be in out the door weather and more. Point yourself into the wind, because if you're gonna take off, you want to take off into the wind. Actually, they're pointed the exact wrong way. The wind's going the other way. What do you see, Rex? They're deciding right now. What should we do? Someone poop on him. Get him, Rex. There they go, into the wind. They know what's going on. We're only gonna be here for a few minutes. You can come back. Look at that, they're just gliding right into that. Wind is probably still about 25, 30 miles an hour. That's fun. Rex is pretty much unfazed. Now, you know what? We walk in geese poop. Maybe we can see the moon. Oh yeah. All right, so there's a gull just kind of hanging right there in the breeze. And then there's the worm moon. And cumulus, instability cumulus. I just looked at the webcams at the ski areas, and it looks like up in northern Vermont. I didn't check many others, you know. I'm kind of partial. There is snow on the cars at the end of the day, so it's a good day when there's snow in the car. So hopefully you found some stash on the side of the trails. And let's not forget updates from Weir and Carl and Donna and Ross. There's Donna and Powder Mountain in Utah. The snow has ended. And you got a lot more snow there than we did in Vermont. Come back to the Ski of the East. Born from ice. And Ross at Beaver Mountain. Where's that? How'd you find those freshies? Is that also Utah? And Weir is in Florida with the Florida foilers. People riding the waves on their foil boards. There's some kind of mechanical assist. Not sure, new technology. And T-Rex at TK at Great Hill. Watching the moon, the birds, and the wind. And I think we may try and just wait a little bit to play the Captain Spacetime piano. I want to see as it gets dark if we can see any stars along with the moon. And of course somebody had to drive through the fence. It's hard to have nice things. So note the color of the grass. Half of the winter there was snow on the ground, so the grass really went dormant. And it's just starting to show a little bit of green right there. It is going to be very green springtime. Especially if we get all that rain next week, but even before that. See Boston through the trees. Go Celtics. Down goes the sun. North Weymouth. This is the view out the back bedroom window. And look at this one. That's a cat. And there's another one. 39 degrees, 5:15. There goes the sun. This time tomorrow, well, I guess it's today now. It's 6:15. The sun's getting farther and farther to the right. It's tomorrow too late. And the wind is relentless and it's freezing, so I think that's going to be it. Where's the moon? Up there next to the crow. So yeah, the moon and the stars and the planets all looking beautiful tonight. That crow and flag needs work for sure. So, real interesting sky, time lapse. Both from Dennis and from Weymouth today. We had some Virga go by. No precipitation in Weymouth. I don't think in Cape Cod either. But it snowed in the mountains, which is what we really like. More and more and more. Cape Cod. Real quick, freezing. There's the moon and maybe Jupiter on the flag and definitely Venus.